Most people think they know the Middle East, but there's a place that will shatter every assumption you've ever had. Kurdistan, a land that technically doesn't exist on most world maps, yet houses over 30 million people living a life so rich and complex that Hollywood couldn't write it better. This isn't your typical travel documentary where someone pretends to survive on pocket change while staying in 5-star hotels. This is about spending 30 days in Kurdistan with exactly $500 and uncovering a civilization that has been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Right now, you're probably thinking Kurdistan equals danger, desert, and desperation. Wrong on all 3 counts. What if I told you that in this non-country you'll find mountain resorts that rival Switzerland universities, producing the next generation of engineers and doctors, and a hospitality culture so intense that refusing a 3rd cup of tea is considered a personal insult? What if I mentioned that Kurdish women run businesses, attend universities, and navigate a social structure that's simultaneously ancient and surprisingly progressive? The challenge starts now. $500, 1 month, 0 connections. But here's what makes this different. Kurdistan isn't just about surviving on a budget. It is about understanding how an entire culture has maintained its identity while being split across for different countries, how they've built a functioning autonomous region in one of the world's most turbulent neighborhoods, and why Kurdish hospitality is so legendary that even rival tribes will protect strangers who enter their territory. You'll witness morning calls to prayer echoing across mountain valleys, where shepherds still move their flocks along paths carved by their great-grandfathers. You'll see teenagers in Erbil scrolling through Instagram, while their grandmothers weave traditional Kurdish rugs, using techniques passed down through 20 generations. You'll experience a culture where honor isn't just a concept but a daily practice that shapes everything from business deals to marriage proposals. But Kurdistan's real secret isn't its stunning landscapes or even its oil wealth. It's the people who've created a society that functions on unspoken rules, where a handshake means more than any contract, and where family loyalty extends to protecting complete strangers, simply because they've shared a meal together. This is a place where ancient traditions haven't just survived modernity. They've adapted to create something entirely unique. So forget everything you think you know about this region. Forget the news headlines and political complications. For the next hour, you're about to experience Kurdistan through the eyes of someone who lived it, breathed it, and discovered that sometimes the most extraordinary places are the ones that don't technically exist on paper. The mountains of northern Iraq stretch endlessly toward Turkey and Iran, creating natural borders that have protected Kurdish culture for thousands of years. But calling Kurdistan simply northern Iraq is like calling New York that place near New Jersey. Technically accurate, but missing the entire point. This autonomous region spans approximately 40,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Switzerland, with a population pushing 6 million people who've created their own government, military, and economic system. Kurdistan's geography reads like a natural fortress designed by someone with a serious appreciation for strategic positioning. The Zagros Mountains form a protective barrier that has kept invasions at bay, while creating microclimates that range from Mediterranean-style valleys to alpine meadows that would make Austrian tourists homesick. The region sits on some of the world's largest oil reserves, which explains why everyone from ancient Persian kings to modern superpowers has wanted a piece of this territory. But geography here isn't just about mountains and oil. It's about how landscape shapes culture. Those same mountains that protected Kurds from conquest also isolated communities, creating hundreds of distinct dialects and customs within the broader Kurdish identity. Villages separated by just 50 kilometers might have completely different wedding traditions, food preparations, and even clothing styles. The Tigris River and its tributaries create fertile valleys where agriculture thrives, supporting everything from wheat farming to sheep herding. That's remained essentially unchanged for centuries. The elevation changes are dramatic. You can start your morning in Erbil, at 400 meters above sea level, drive 2 hours north, and find yourself at 2,000 meters in mountain villages where snow falls even in late spring. This geographic diversity means Kurdistan produces everything from dates and pomegranates in the lower regions to apples and walnuts in the highlands. The climate follows suit, with blazing summers in the plains and cool mountain retreats that become skiing destinations. During winter months, what makes Kurdistan's geography particularly fascinating is how it's shaped the Kurdish mindset. Living in mountains creates self-reliant communities, where neighbors depend on each other for survival. The harsh winters and summer droughts taught Kurds to store, share, and plan collectively. Even today, you'll notice that Kurdish families maintain food stores that could feed them for months. And every village has communal systems for sharing water, tools, and labor during planting and harvest seasons. The oil wealth concentrated in areas like Kirkuk has created an interesting economic dynamic. While Kurdistan's government receives significant revenue from oil exports, the traditional mountain communities often operate on barter systems and mutual aid that predate currency. This creates a fascinating juxtaposition where ultramodern oil facilities exist, alongside communities where a man's word and reputation remain more valuable than any written contract. Kurdistan's family structure operates on principles that would confuse most Western sociologists and impress most Eastern philosophers simultaneously. The basic unit isn't the individual or even the nuclear family, it is the extended clan network that can include hundreds of people across multiple generations. This isn't just about keeping track of relatives, it's a sophisticated social safety net, business network, and cultural preservation system all rolled into one. Morning in a Kurdish household begins before sunrise, not because of work schedules, but because of social obligations. The eldest family members rise first, preparing tea that will be consumed in quantities that would require medical intervention. In most other cultures, Kurdish tea isn't just a beverage, it's a social ritual, a business negotiation tool, and a diplomatic gesture. Refusing tea is equivalent to refusing friendship, which explains why visitors often leave Kurdish homes slightly caffeinated and completely overwhelmed by hospitality. The concept of honor permeates daily life in ways that outsiders find both admirable and exhausting. Kurdish men are expected to protect not just their immediate families, but their extended clan's reputation. This creates a social pressure system where individual actions reflect on dozens of people, leading to carefully considered behavior and an emphasis on reputation that spans generations. Kurdish women navigate this honor system with remarkable skill, maintaining respect for traditional values while often pursuing education and careers that would have been unthinkable for their mothers. Hospitality in Kurdistan operates on principles that turn normal social interactions into elaborate performances. Guests aren't just welcomed, they're temporarily adopted into the family hierarchy. A Kurdish host will literally give you the clothes off their back, and refusing such generosity is considered deeply insulting. This creates interesting situations where visitors find themselves owning carpets, jewelry, and clothing they never intended to acquire, simply because admiring something in a Kurdish home is interpreted as a polite request for ownership. The bizarre culture reveals Kurdistan's approach to business and social interaction. Kurdish markets aren't just commercial spaces, they're social centers where information flows, marriages are arranged, and community disputes are resolved. Haggling isn't about getting the best price, it is about establishing a relationship that might last for decades. Successful Kurdish merchants maintain customer relationships across generations, often extending credit based on family reputation rather than financial documentation. Daily life follows rhythms that blend Islamic practices with Kurdish traditions and modern conveniences. Prayer times structure the day, but Kurdish interpretations often emphasize community gathering over individual worship. Mosques serve as community centers where everything from business partnerships to marriage proposals gets discussed between prayers. The evening gathering culture means Kurdish men spend hours in tea houses, discussing everything from politics to poetry, while women maintain equally important social networks centered around family, visits, and communal cooking. Kurdish cuisine represents comfort food elevated to an art form, where every meal becomes a social event and every ingredient tells a story about geography, history, and family tradition. The foundation of Kurdish cooking rests on simple ingredients transformed through techniques passed down through generations of mountain-dwelling families who learned to create extraordinary flavors. from whatever the harsh landscape could provide. Kebabs in Kurdistan aren't the fast food version most people know. Kurdish kebab preparation begins with selecting meat from sheep that grazed on mountain herbs, creating a flavor profile that changes with the seasons. The meat gets mixed with bulgur wheat, onions, and spice blends that vary by family and region. Each Kurdish mother guards her spice mixture like a state secret, creating subtle flavor differences that locals can identify blindfolded. A properly prepared Kurdish kebab requires at least 2 hours of preparation and cooking, turning meal creation into a meditation on tradition and patience. Dolma preparation reveals Kurdish ingenuity and resourcefulness. While most cultures stuff grape leaves, Kurds stuff everything edible: cabbage leaves, peppers, tomatoes, eggplants, and even lamb intestines for special occasions. The filling combines rice, meat, herbs, and spices in ratios that depend on family recipes and seasonal availability. Making dolma is a communal activity where multiple generations work together, sharing stories and techniques while preparing enough food to feed extended families and unexpected guests. Kurdish bread deserves its own documentary. Traditional tandoor ovens built into family courtyards produce flatbreads that serve as plates, utensils, and social connectors. The bread-making process begins before dawn, with women preparing dough that will feed the family for days. The communal nature of bread making means neighbors share ovens, creating daily social interactions that maintain community bonds. Fresh Kurdish bread carries flavors of wood smoke and mountain air that industrial bakeries can't replicate. Tea culture in Kurdistan operates on principles that would overwhelm coffee-drinking cultures. Kurdish families consume tea from sunrise to midnight, using small glasses that concentrate flavor and heat. The tea preparation ceremony involves multiple brewings, specific sugar arrangements, and serving protocols that communicate respect and social hierarchy. Guests might consume 15 to 20 glasses of tea during a typical visit, creating a caffeine intake that supports hours of intensive conversation and social bonding. On a $500 budget, Kurdish food becomes an adventure in community integration. Street vendors sell lamb and rice dishes for under $2. But the real value lies in family invitations that arrive daily, once locals accept you into their social circles. Kurdish hospitality means visitors rarely pay for meals after the first week, as families compete to offer the most impressive dining experiences. Home-cooked Kurdish meals feature ingredients that would cost $50 in Western restaurants, but represent standard family cooking in Kurdistan. The spice markets reveal Kurdistan's position along ancient trade routes. Kurdish cuisine incorporates flavors from Persian, Arab, Turkish, and Central Asian traditions, creating unique combinations that reflect centuries of cultural exchange. Sumac, za'atar, and dried lime create flavor profiles that locals adjust for different seasons and occasions. Learning to navigate spice markets requires understanding that vendors will spend hours explaining proper usage, storage, and preparation methods for each purchase. Kurdistan's approach to gender roles and relationships creates a social landscape that confuses outside observers and challenges every stereotype about Middle Eastern culture. Kurdish women occupy a unique position that balances traditional respect with opportunities that surprise visitors from both conservative and liberal societies. Understanding this balance requires looking beyond surface observations and appreciating the subtle ways Kurdish culture creates space for female independence. Within traditional structures, Kurdish women's education levels often exceed those of men, with universities in Erbil and Suleymaniye graduating more female doctors, engineers, and teachers than male counterparts. This educational emphasis reflects Kurdish cultural values that prioritize knowledge and capability over gender restrictions. Kurdish families invest heavily in daughters' education, viewing female professionals as family assets rather than social threats. The result is a generation of Kurdish women who speak multiple languages, hold advanced degrees, and navigate between traditional family roles and professional careers with remarkable skill. The dating culture operates through carefully constructed social networks that allow young people to meet while maintaining family honor and community approval. Kurdish courtship involves extended family participation, where relatives serve as intermediaries, character witnesses, and relationship counselors. This system creates marriages based on comprehensive compatibility rather than immediate attraction, resulting in divorce rates significantly lower than Western standards. While maintaining romantic elements that satisfy individual desires, Kurdish women's fashion reflects this cultural balance perfectly. Traditional Kurdish dresses appear at formal occasions and cultural celebrations, featuring intricate embroidery and colors that indicate regional identity and family status. Daily clothing combines Islamic modesty requirements with contemporary styles that would fit comfortably in European fashion magazines. Kurdish women develop sophisticated wardrobes that communicate cultural identity, personal style, and social awareness simultaneously. The beauty culture emphasizes natural enhancement rather than dramatic transformation. Kurdish women use traditional treatments involving yogurt, honey, and herbs alongside modern cosmetics to maintain skin and hair health suited to mountain climates and desert winds. Henna applications for special occasions become social events, where women gather to share family news, relationship advice, and cultural knowledge while creating intricate hand and foot designs. Business ownership among Kurdish women reflects cultural attitudes that surprise outside observers. Many Kurdish families encourage daughters to establish businesses that can operate from home or integrate with family enterprises. These female-owned businesses often specialize in traditional crafts, food production, or services that serve other women. The resulting female business networks create economic opportunities that maintain family connections while generating independent income. Social gatherings separate by gender for traditional reasons, but create opportunities for women to discuss topics ranging from politics to poetry without male interference. These female-only gatherings function as informal universities, where older women share life experience, cultural knowledge, and practical skills with younger generations. The conversations cover everything from child-rearing techniques to international current events, creating informed communities of women who influence family decisions. Despite operating within traditional structures, Kurdish celebration culture transforms ordinary occasions into elaborate productions that can bankrupt families and create memories lasting for decades. The festival calendar begins with Nowruz, the Kurdish New Year celebration that combines ancient Zoroastrian fire rituals with contemporary cultural expression and political statement-making that governments across the region monitor closely. Nowruz preparations begin weeks in advance, with families cleaning homes thoroughly, purchasing new clothes, and preparing special foods that appear only during this celebration. The fire-jumping tradition requires careful preparation, as families build bonfires using specific wood types and arrangements that create flames safe for jumping. While maintaining symbolic significance, children practice their jumping techniques for weeks, as successful leaps over Nowruz fires supposedly guarantee good luck for the coming year. The music accompanying Nowruz celebrations features traditional Kurdish instruments that create sounds unique to this culture. The Zurna double reed woodwind and Dehel large drum combination produces music that carries across mountain valleys, calling communities together for dancing that continues until sunrise. Kurdish dance forms require group participation, with circle dances that include everyone regardless of age or skill level. The complexity increases throughout the evening, with expert dancers demonstrating regional variations that tell stories about Kurdish history, geography, and cultural values. Wedding celebrations in Kurdistan operate on scales that would impress royal families, while maintaining community accessibility that ensures everyone participates, regardless of economic status. Kurdish weddings typically last 3 days, with each day featuring different ceremonies, foods, and entertainment formats. The preparation involves extended families working together for months, creating opportunities for relationship building, skill sharing, and cultural transmission that strengthen community bonds beyond the immediate celebration. The henna night precedes the wedding ceremony, featuring elaborate decorations applied to the bride's hands and feet, while female relatives sing traditional songs that tell stories about marriage, family life, and cultural expectations. These songs function as informal marriage counseling, sharing practical advice and emotional support through musical traditions that connect the bride to generations of Kurdish women who navigated similar transitions. Religious festivals blend Islamic observances with Kurdish cultural traditions, creating celebrations that maintain spiritual significance while expressing cultural identity. Eid celebrations feature special Kurdish dishes, traditional clothing, and community gatherings that strengthen religious faith alongside cultural belonging. The integration of Islamic practices with Kurdish traditions demonstrates the culture's ability to maintain identity while participating in broader religious communities. Music festivals throughout the year feature Kurdish poetry set to traditional melodies, creating performances that preserve historical narratives, cultural values, and linguistic traditions. These events attract participants from across the Kurdish diaspora, creating opportunities for cultural exchange and identity reinforcement that transcend national boundaries. Living on $500 for a month in Kurdistan requires understanding economic structures that blend oil wealth with traditional mountain economy and modern urban development. The calculation involves more than simple currency exchange. It requires navigating social systems where generosity, reciprocity, and community integration often matter more than cash transactions. Accommodation costs vary dramatically depending on location and social connections. Hotel rooms in Erbil range from $15 to $50 per night for basic accommodations, but these prices assume tourist status and short-term stays. Renting a room in a Kurdish family home costs $3 to $8 per night, while providing cultural immersion worth thousands in educational value. These arrangements often include meals, transportation assistance, and social introductions that transform visitors from outsiders into temporary family members. Food expenses demonstrate Kurdistan's economic contradictions most clearly. Restaurant meals cost $2 to $5 for substantial portions featuring meat, rice, vegetables, and bread sufficient for 2 meals. Street food vendors sell kebabs, flatbread, and tea combinations for under $2 that provide complete nutritional needs for half a day. However, Kurdish hospitality means visitors often eat free meals daily once local families adopt them into social circles, reducing actual food costs to virtually nothing while increasing cultural experience. Exponentially, transportation operates on systems that prioritize community over efficiency. Shared taxis cost 50 cents to $2 for city travel, with drivers often refusing payment from visitors who demonstrate proper respect for Kurdish customs. Long-distance travel between cities costs $3 to $8, but these journeys become cultural education experiences where passengers share food, stories, and contact information that create lasting relationships beyond simple transportation. Employment opportunities for visitors depend on skills, language abilities, and social integration levels. English teaching positions pay $300 to $800 monthly while requiring minimal formal qualifications beyond native language skills and cultural sensitivity. Oil industry jobs offer higher salaries but require specialized skills and security clearances that exclude most casual visitors. Traditional craft apprenticeships provide cultural education rather than significant income, but create relationships with master artisans that offer lifetime learning opportunities. The bazaar economy operates on negotiation principles that reward relationship building over aggressive bargaining. Prices for handicrafts, clothing, and souvenirs start at tourist levels but drop dramatically for visitors who invest time in proper social interactions. Kurdish merchants often sell items at cost or below to customers who demonstrate cultural respect and genuine interest in understanding Kurdish artistry and traditions. Currency exchange requires understanding that official rates differ significantly from street rates, and payment methods affect pricing substantially. Iraqi dinars provide better purchasing power than US dollars for local transactions, while dollars work better for formal accommodations and tourist services. Credit cards function in major hotels and modern shopping centers, but remain useless in traditional markets in rural areas where cash transactions dominate. Hidden costs include social obligations that arise from Kurdish hospitality. Accepting invitations creates expectations for reciprocal generosity that might involve purchasing gifts, contributing to celebrations, or providing assistance that exceeds simple monetary calculations. These social investments often return value through access to experiences, relationships, and cultural understanding that money alone cannot purchase. Kurdistan's transportation network reveals a society that adapted mountain geography to create connectivity while maintaining cultural distinctiveness. The roads tell stories about engineering challenges, political relationships, and cultural priorities that shape daily life in ways that traffic patterns alone cannot convey. The Hamilton Road represents Kurdish engineering achievement and historical determination. This mountain highway connects Erbil to Iranian border regions through terrain that defeated ancient armies and challenges modern vehicles. The road's construction required blasting through solid rock, building bridges across deep gorges, and creating switchbacks that gain elevation, while maintaining grades suitable for commercial traffic. Driving this route provides views of landscapes that have remained unchanged for millennia, alongside evidence of Kurdish determination to connect isolated communities. Shared taxi systems operate on principles that prioritize community over individual convenience. Drivers maintain regular routes between cities and villages, departing when full rather than following fixed schedules. This creates opportunities for cultural interaction as passengers from different backgrounds share confined spaces for hours, leading to conversations, food sharing, and relationship building that transforms transportation into social events. The drivers often serve as informal tour guides, news sources, and cultural interpreters who enhance travel experiences beyond simple point-to-point movement. Urban transportation in cities like Erbil and Suleymaniye combines traditional methods with modern infrastructure projects that demonstrate Kurdish aspiration for international recognition. New highway construction connects Kurdistan to neighboring countries, while creating employment opportunities and demonstrating governmental capability. Traffic patterns reflect cultural values where family obligations take priority over efficiency, leading to frequent stops for social visits and spontaneous gatherings that would frustrate time-conscious cultures. Mountain village access requires understanding that roads often become social gathering places, where residents monitor travelers, exchange information, and provide assistance to visitors who demonstrate appropriate respect. These rural transportation networks maintain community connections that prevent isolation, while preserving cultural traditions that might disappear in more accessible locations. Village roads often require four-wheel drive vehicles during certain seasons, creating dependencies that strengthen community bonds through shared resources and mutual assistance. The lifestyle that emerges from Kurdistan's transportation systems emphasizes relationship building over efficiency. Long travel times become opportunities for cultural exchange, business networking, and social bonding that create value beyond simple movement between locations. Kurdish travelers typically carry extra food, water, and supplies to share with fellow passengers, creating mobile communities that demonstrate cultural values. Throughout the transportation experience, public transportation reflects economic realities where vehicle ownership remains limited, but community cooperation ensures everyone as mobility needs get met. Bus systems connecting major cities operate on schedules that accommodate prayer times, market days, and cultural celebrations, demonstrating how transportation infrastructure adapts to cultural priorities rather than imposing external time concepts on traditional societies. Kurdistan's natural attractions create tourism opportunities that remain largely undiscovered by international markets while providing recreational spaces that support local cultural practices and environmental preservation. These landscapes offer experiences that rival famous international destinations, while maintaining authenticity that commercialized tourist areas often lose. Rwandu's Canyon provides geological drama that competes with Grand Canyon views while offering cultural experiences unavailable in American national parks. The canyon walls reveal rock formations spanning millions of years, creating natural amphitheaters where Kurdish musicians perform traditional concerts that echo ancient cultural practices. Hiking trails follow paths used by shepherds for centuries, passing through communities where traditional lifestyles continue, alongside growing ecotourism opportunities. The Bekal waterfall demonstrates Kurdistan's natural diversity while serving as a recreational center where Kurdish families gather for picnics, celebrations, and social events that maintain community connections. The waterfall's accessibility makes it popular for weekend excursions that combine natural beauty with cultural activities including traditional dancing, communal cooking, and storytelling that preserve cultural traditions while enjoying natural settings. Gali Ali Beg Canyon offers adventure tourism opportunities that challenge international standards while maintaining cultural authenticity. Rock climbing, hiking, and camping opportunities attract adventurous visitors while providing income for local guides, who share environmental knowledge alongside cultural insights. These guides often come from families who've lived in the region for generations, providing expertise about local ecology, weather patterns, and cultural history that enriches outdoor experiences beyond simple recreation. The Kandil Mountains represent Kurdistan's most remote and culturally significant natural areas, where traditional nomadic lifestyles continue alongside wildlife preservation efforts. These high-altitude regions support endangered species while providing summer grazing for sheep and goat herds managed using traditional methods that demonstrate sustainable environmental practices developed over centuries. Archaeological sites throughout Kurdistan reveal civilizations that preceded written history, while demonstrating cultural continuity that connects ancient peoples to contemporary Kurdish identity. Sites like the Citadel of Erbil provide evidence of continuous human habitation, spanning over 6,000 years, creating opportunities to understand how geography, culture, and historical events shape the Kurdish experience across millennia. Mountain resorts near Shaklawa offer recreational opportunities that combine natural beauty with cultural experiences unavailable in commercial tourist destinations. These facilities provide accommodations, dining, and entertainment that maintain Kurdish cultural elements while offering comfort levels that satisfy international visitors. The resort areas serve as gathering places for Kurdish diaspora families returning for cultural connection and relationship maintenance. Kurdistan's healthcare system demonstrates remarkable achievement considering regional challenges while revealing cultural approaches to health and medical treatment that blend traditional knowledge with modern medical science. Understanding healthcare access provides insights into Kurdish social structures, government capabilities, and cultural values that prioritize community welfare alongside individual treatment. Medical facilities in major cities like Erbil and Suleymaniye offer healthcare quality that meets international standards while maintaining affordability that makes treatment accessible to most residents. Private hospitals provide services comparable to European medical centers, with many physicians holding international certifications and language skills that accommodate medical tourists from neighboring countries. These facilities often provide treatment costs significantly lower than Western medical systems while maintaining quality standards that satisfy demanding patients. Traditional medicine practices continue alongside modern healthcare, with Kurdish families maintaining knowledge about herbal treatments, dietary remedies, and therapeutic practices that complement conventional medical care. These traditional approaches often provide preventive care and treatment for minor ailments while demonstrating cultural knowledge systems that have sustained Kurdish communities through centuries of limited access to formal medical care. The pharmacy system operates with fewer restrictions than many countries, allowing direct purchase of medications that require prescriptions elsewhere. This accessibility reflects cultural attitudes that emphasize individual responsibility for health maintenance while creating potential risks that Kurdish families manage through traditional knowledge about proper medication usage and health monitoring. Emergency medical services demonstrate governmental capabilities, while revealing cultural approaches to crisis management that prioritize community response over individual preparedness. Kurdish communities maintain informal networks that ensure rapid response to medical emergencies, with neighbors, relatives, and community leaders coordinating transportation, communication, and support services that supplement formal medical systems. Mental health services reflect changing attitudes towards psychological treatment while maintaining cultural sensitivity that accommodates traditional approaches to emotional and spiritual wellness. Kurdistan's younger generation increasingly accepts professional counseling and therapy services, while older residents often prefer traditional support systems based on family counseling, religious guidance, and community intervention methods. Educational facilities from elementary schools to universities demonstrate Kurdish investments in future development while revealing cultural priorities that emphasize knowledge acquisition, cultural preservation, and international engagement. Rural schools often operate with limited resources but maintain educational standards that prepare students for university admission and professional careers that contribute to Kurdish society's development. Safety considerations in Kurdistan require understanding political complexities alongside practical security measures that affect both residents and visitors. The region's security situation reflects broader Middle Eastern political dynamics, while demonstrating Kurdish governmental capabilities and cultural approaches to maintaining community safety through traditional social controls. Alongside modern security systems, personal safety for visitors depends more on cultural awareness than physical security measures, as Kurdistan maintains lower crime rates than many international destinations, while requiring understanding of social protocols that prevent misunderstandings and cultural conflicts. Kurdish hospitality creates protective environments for visitors who demonstrate appropriate respect for cultural values. But cultural ignorance can create problems that formal security measures cannot prevent. The checkpoint system reflects political realities, while creating opportunities for cultural interaction and governmental demonstration of administrative capabilities. Security personnel often engage visitors in conversations that provide cultural information and demonstrate Kurdish pride in their region's development and stability compared to surrounding areas. Medical evacuation capabilities exist through partnerships with international organizations and neighboring countries, providing emergency healthcare access that exceeds many developing regions, while maintaining costs significantly lower than commercial medical tourism destinations. Travel insurance remains advisable, but often unnecessary for routine medical needs, due to affordable local healthcare options. Political demonstrations and cultural celebrations sometimes create crowd situations that require awareness but rarely threaten visitors' safety. These events often provide opportunities for cultural observation and participation that enhance understanding of Kurdish political aspiration and cultural identity expression. Through peaceful gatherings and traditional celebrations, economic safety considerations include understanding currency exchange, banking limitations, and investment opportunities that reflect Kurdistan's developing economy alongside traditional cultural approaches to financial security and business relationships. Credit card fraud remains less common than many international destinations, but cash transactions dominate most economic activities outside major urban centers. Visiting Kurdistan requires understanding visa procedures, cultural expectations, and practical preparations that differ significantly from typical tourist destinations, while offering experiences that reward visitors with cultural insights and personal relationships that extend far beyond simple travel experiences. Visa procedures vary by nationality, with many countries receiving visa on-arrival privileges that simplify entry processes, while demonstrating Kurdish governmental efficiency and international diplomatic relationships. The visa application process often provides first impressions of Kurdish hospitality, as airport personnel frequently assist visitors with procedures, transportation arrangements, and initial cultural orientation that eases transition into unfamiliar social environments. Currency considerations involve understanding that Iraqi dinars provide optimal purchasing power for local transactions, while US dollars work better for formal accommodations and tourist services. Exchange rates fluctuate based on regional political developments and oil market conditions, creating opportunities for favorable exchanges alongside potential complications that careful planning can minimize. Communication systems, including internet access, mobile phone service, and language considerations, require preparation for environments where English fluency varies widely, but Kurdish hospitality compensates for language barriers through patient assistance and cultural accommodation. Learning basic Kurdish phrases demonstrates respect that opens social opportunities while improving practical navigation of daily interactions. Cultural etiquette extends beyond simple politeness to encompass understanding of honor systems, hospitality obligations, and social hierarchies that govern Kurdish interactions. Visitors who invest time in learning appropriate behavior patterns receive cultural access and community acceptance that transforms travel from observation to participation in authentic Kurdish life. Experiences. Recommended preparations include conservative clothing that respects Islamic modesty, requirements while accommodating Kurdistan's climate variations and social expectations. Medical preparation should include routine vaccinations, alongside any specialized immunizations recommended for regional travel. Though Kurdistan's healthcare system can address most common travel health issues effectively, essential items for Kurdistan travel include respect for cultural values, patience with different time concepts, and openness to experiences that challenge preconceptions about Middle Eastern societies. Material preparations matter less than mental preparation for cultural immersion that can transform understanding of regional complexities and human relationships across cultural boundaries. Kurdistan represents something remarkable in our modern world, a culture that maintains ancient traditions while embracing contemporary opportunities, a society that values honor alongside progress, and a people who've created stability and prosperity despite existing in one of the world's most challenging regions. The 30-day journey with $500 revealed that Kurdistan's greatest wealth isn't measured in oil revenues or economic statistics, but in the cultural sophistication and human generosity that transforms strangers into family members and visitors into cultural ambassadors. The Kurdish experiment in autonomous governance demonstrates possibilities that political scientists study and diplomats admire, how traditional cultural values can support modern democratic institutions while maintaining social stability and economic development. This success story remains largely unknown to international audiences who associate the region with conflict rather than achievement, missing opportunities to understand how cultural strength can overcome geographical and political challenges. The hospitality culture creates more than pleasant travel experiences. It demonstrates social systems that prioritize community welfare over individual advancement while achieving prosperity that benefits everyone. Kurdish society proves that traditional values and modern aspiration can coexist productively when communities maintain cultural identity while embracing beneficial changes that improve life quality without sacrificing social cohesion. The women of Kurdistan navigate between tradition and modernity with grace that offers lessons for societies struggling with gender equality issues. Their achievements in education, business, and cultural leadership demonstrate how progressive changes can emerge from within traditional structures rather than requiring external impositions that often create cultural conflicts and social instability. Kurdistan's natural beauty and cultural richness create tourism opportunities that could benefit regional economies while preserving cultural authenticity that commercialized destinations often lose. The challenge lies in developing sustainable tourism that brings economic benefits without overwhelming cultural systems that depend on authentic relationships and community-scale interactions. The Kurdish story continues evolving as each generation adapts cultural traditions to contemporary challenges while maintaining identity elements that have sustained this civilization through centuries of political uncertainty and geographical challenges. Their success offers hope for other cultures facing similar pressures to abandon traditional values in pursuit of modernization that often creates more problems than solutions. For travelers seeking authentic cultural experiences beyond superficial tourist attractions, Kurdistan offers immersion opportunities that transform understanding of Middle Eastern complexities, Islamic societies, and human resilience in the face of historical challenges. The investment of time, respect, and genuine interest returns dividends in personal relationships, cultural knowledge, and expanded worldview that no conventional tourist destination can provide. The $500 challenge proved that authentic travel depends more on cultural preparation than financial resources, and that the most valuable experiences often cost nothing beyond respect, patience, and willingness to participate in unfamiliar social systems with open minds and humble attitudes. Kurdistan rewards such approaches with memories, relationships, and insights that last lifetimes while costing less than typical vacation packages to commercial tourist destinations. Comment below if you're ready to challenge your assumptions about this remarkable region, and subscribe to continue exploring places where authentic cultures create extraordinary human experiences that remind us what traveling should really be about.